Hey guys, what's going on? Today we are going to be defending the Batman once again. I guess to cap off the trilogy of videos I've made on the Batman, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's all I have to say for the intro, so let's get into it.
All right, we need to have a little talk about the Batman movie that just came out on HBO Max. Has been out for about 45 days. I have been listening to reviews of this film and seeing video after video after video on YouTube giving it praise and how wonderful it is. And I just want to say, in my opinion, that this movie is a big pile of steaming dog shit. That's my opinion, and I'm going to back it up. And I'm not just going to talk about the film itself, but we're going to talk about DC Comics as a whole and the state of the DC Comics movie universe, which is in shambles and always has been. But let's start with the Batman. Literally, let's start with Robert Pattinson as the Batman. Emo Batman, depressed little child of a man Batman, sulking around the Wayne Manor and spending most of his time in his Batsuit in his Batcave. Just morbidly depressed at all times.
Considering he had to watch both his parents die right in front of him at a young age, yeah, it's understandable that he wouldn't exactly be the happiest person in the world. What is this?
This is not a good interpretation of Bruce Wayne in any capacity. Because there's two sides to the Batman. There's the crusader who lurks in the shadows we've all come to love over the years, and then there's the playboy billionaire Bruce Wayne who lives a lifestyle of fast cars and loose women and is an expert at running his multinational companies, keeping his operation well funded for decade after decade, ignoring the business of Wayne Tech and Wayne Enterprises is not something Bruce Wayne has ever done, and nor can he really do.
So basically, his point is Bruce in this movie is essentially annoying, Wayne Enterprises, Wayne Tech, etc., whereas he never did that before, which is wrong, because in the comics that you are, I'm assuming at least that you're kind of comparing the movie to, Batman New 52, 0 Year, Bruce wanted to wanted to have the public essentially just think he's dead. He did not want to come back into the public eye because he wanted to focus solely on being Batman. He wanted nothing to do with Wayne Enterprises during 0 Year. So yeah, that's wrong. And also, even if even if that what you said was true, that in the comics or whatever, he never ignored Wayne Enterprises, this is a different version of Bruce Wayne. They don't have to follow the comics strictly. So it's just an adaptation argument you're arguing here, and it's a bad one. It just boils down to it's bad because it's different. Not an objective problem with this version of Bruce's writing.
Because the funds can't dry up, because being the Batman, turns out, is quite an expensive adventure. But in this film, this rendition, we have a Batman or a Bruce Wayne that's completely detached psychologically from pretty much every damn thing going on around him. And the other thing we know about Batman is he is the world's greatest detective, and in this film we have a total idiot who never figures out shit. The only thing he ever does is he gets the riddles correct right away. He knows the riddles before the riddle even finishes the damn riddle. But
Whoa, hold on. So I hate to cut you off when you're making your point, but you just said that Bruce in this movie doesn't figure out anything, and then the very next thing you say is that, oh, but he solves the riddles. You contradicted yourself, dude. Are you serious right now? Oh man, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I just thought it was really funny.
doesn't really put it into action, and so it's kind of pointless knowing the answer if you don't get to the conclusion or get to the driving point of the riddle.
Care to provide an example of this?
The Riddler in this film was 10 steps ahead of Batman at all times, and we don't know how many people died as a result of Batman's ineptitude, Batman's inability to see the basic fucking things happening right in front of his face. There is a scene in this film where a bomb is getting ready to detonate right in front of his face. Now the entire audience knows it's going to detonate because there's a little red blinking light that is progressively blinking faster and faster. And so we know that this bomb is going to detonate. Everyone in the room knows. But Batman, no, this guy, he hasn't picked up on it.
Bruce is well aware that it's a bomb. It's why he urges the DA to answer the riddles and say who the rat is, so Riddler will deactivate the bomb. It's why he pushes so hard for him to do that. He is well aware it's a bomb. What are you saying?
And the bomb actually explodes in his face. He had plenty of time to escape the room. He probably could have escaped the building. But no, he let the bomb explode right in his face. But don't worry, nothing happened as a result of this explosion except for a little minor ear ringing, which is just a slight inconvenience.
Dude, Bruce was well aware that it was a bomb on the DA. He was only sticking around so he could try to get the DA to say who the rat was. Because if he did, that would have been the last of Riddler's riddles, and the bomb would have deactivated. He knew it was a bomb. He stayed because he was trying to get the DA to answer the riddles so the bomb would be deactivated. Also, the bomb didn't just cause ear ringing, it knocked him out. What are you talking about?
Little disorientation. It isn't like the entire Gotham police force is going to surround him in a small, tiny room with 50 officers and no one's going to try to rip that mask right off his fucking face. That's not going to happen. And if they did, we all know Commissioner Gordon would hold all of them back at bay because Commissioner Gordon just talks like the Batman as well. So we all talk with the Batman voice now. Whenever we hang around with Batman, we all talk like the Batman. And it is kind of annoying to see Commissioner Gordon taking on the Batman voice as he waddles around like it's a buddy cop movie, him and the Batman solving the crime together.
Okay, Gordon kept them from taking off Batman's mask. He still has high authority in the police force, even if he's not the commissioner yet. And also, I'm not sure what you were trying to get at with the voice thing, since it's not like Gordon is purposely trying to imitate Batman. That's just how his voice sounds. So I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to get at with that, but okay, I guess.
The movie was annoying on so many levels, it was hard to enjoy. Sure, the cinematics were great. You could say the beautiful cinematography, the darkness of it all. And I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. I'm not okay with the way the scenes in the film seem to have completely disconnected from themselves. There's a scene in particular I'm thinking of. A scene where Batman rushes with Catwoman back to her apartment to check on a girl, Annika, who's in danger of being kidnapped by the mob. They arrive and, in fact, she was kidnapped. For the first few seconds of this scene, Catwoman is distraught. Oh, we gotta find her, it's a loss. And then, within a minute or two of this scene unfolding, the need to find Annika dies away slowly, and we get to a point where Batman is talking about her cats. And she is sipping on a little glass of maybe milk, I can't quite recall. But she's sipping on a drink, nonchalantly talking about her cats with the Batman. No one gives a flying fuck anymore about the missing girl.
Catwoman still wants to find her. She just calms herself down after a little bit. And the thing you brought up about the cats, Batman brings up the fact that she has a lot of cats, and then she responds to him. The conversation about the cats lasts all of 2 seconds in the movie. Oh, man.
And we go about our day. This is the entire movie for me. I am totally disconnected from what the fuck is happening throughout the whole thing because I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about Alfred. This is the first movie that I didn't give a rat's fucking ass about Alfred. Didn't care. And I'm even talking about all of the movies. Through Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher, who fucking ruined the Batman franchise. Even his Alfred was likable. It isn't that I didn't like the actor that played Alfred. It's that I didn't give a shit about Alfred in this film because they didn't give us a reason to give a shit. All we had was a few little combative clips, verbally combative clips between him and the Batman early on in the film, and then at some point he gets blown up Alfred I'm referring to. Well, of course the Batman got blown up too, but I'm referring to Alfred this time. And then there's the heartwarming moment where they're holding hands in the hospital, but nobody gives a shit because nobody cares about Alfred, okay? I don't give a shit how much bandage you have wrapped around his head. I didn't give a shit about Alfred. And now how much work do you have to put in as a director and as a writer to get the audience to not give two shits about Alfred being blown up? I mean, that takes some fucking skill. But you guys did it. Congratulations.
Speak for yourself there, buddy. Come on. Just because you didn't care about Alfred in this movie doesn't mean everybody else didn't, like you said. Come on, man. Speak for yourself.
And then let's talk about the Riddler. Now, the Riddler, some might say, is the best performance of the film, and he just really knocked it out of the park. And okay, I mean, sure, it was cool, I guess. I mean, they pulled this version of the Riddler, the serial killer version of the Riddler, out of some little side story, Batman Earth 1 stuff that, no, it's not canon. It's not major plot line, or what should I say? It's not the primary Batman storyline we're talking about here. This is just some little offshoot version of the Riddler. And this points to the biggest problem I have with this film, which I'm going to get to almost shortly, but not quite yet. Okay, I got a few more things I want to pull apart in this fucked up movie.
Okay, now what's wrong with the Riddler's character in this movie? Aside from he's not like the main continuity version of him. Can you explain?
Before I get to that part, okay? Then there's all these other scenes that just totally ruin it for me, okay? One, there's a scene where Batman is basically a peeping Tom. That's right, the same fucking shit they did to Superman in Man of Steel, where they made him. And I'm sorry. Whoa. I apologize for that. I misspoke. I meant Superman Returns. I apologize. Superman Returns. They make fucking Superman a peeping Tom, and in this film they made Batman a fucking peeping Tom watching the Catwoman get undressed. Fucking bullshit. And it
Batman never sees her get undressed.
pisses me off that they would do that shit. And then they almost, well, I'm going to say this. In this film, there is a scene where Batman is hanging from the rafters at the end of the movie by one hand, and I wouldn't even say it's a goon or a henchman, because it's not. It's just some rando with a shotgun who was recruited by a website video, shows up and points a shotgun 3 inches from Batman's face and can literally blow his fucking face off. Okay? So Batman in that moment is going to have his face blown off by some nobody with a shotgun. Now, we all know as the audience, because the movie sucks, that we know Catwoman's going to spring down and save the day. We know this is very, very broadly and very loudly foreshadowed. And of course she does and saves the day, thank goodness. But guess
Why is Catwoman saving Batman in that instance a bad thing exactly? Can you explain?
what? Without Catwoman's interference, Batman's face gets blown off by a shotgun by some nobody. That's bullshit. I don't give a shit what year we're talking about of Batman. This happens to be year 2 we're talking about. In year 2, you know what never happened to Batman? He never got his fucking face blown off with a shotgun by a nobody.
Cool. Batman doesn't get his face blown off by a shotgun in this movie either, so what's your point? Also, you conveniently left out the fact that Batman at that point had already fought multiple people with ARs. So, yeah, he was still injured by that point. That was the reason why he couldn't pull himself up, was just the accumulation of all the damage. Plus, before he had to hang off the railing or whatever, he had already taken a shotgun blast at that point. Batman is worn down at this rate. So, yeah, you conveniently left out some context there, too.
You know what also never happened to my recollection? I don't think Catwoman ever had to save him from a shotgun blast to the face by nobody with a shotgun. Because he's Batman.
Once again, you're conveniently leaving out context. It wasn't, Batman just didn't fight some guy with a shotgun. He had also fought multiple people right beforehand and had taken a shotgun blast and multiple bullets at that point from rifles. So can you stop conveniently leaving out context to make the Batman in this movie seem worse than he actually is?
Do you understand? He's Batman. Even from year 2, he's Batman. Sure, he's a much badder asser Batman later on, but he's still Batman. And then there's all...
I'm sorry, but if your only reasoning as to why it's a bad thing that Batman gets put in a position like that in the movie is because he's Batman, and while also conveniently leaving out context as to how he got into that position in the first place, then I'm sorry, you don't have an actual argument for why it's bad. You're complaining for the sake of it.
All these other little subtle stupid ass scenes scattered throughout. There's a scene where Batman spray paints a giant diagram on the floor of the Wayne Mansion, and it's a, you know, you ever see those charts that people put on walls where they put photos up and they put pins in them, and then they take thread and they connect it, and they want to show a map of how people connect to who and this and that and the other. That's what he did, but basically was spray paint all over the floor of Wayne Manor. Now this would fit a kid who's like, let's say, a 14 idiotic child of a man who's an emo who likes to go around tagging and shit and skateboard on the side. That all makes sense. And that's the kind of personality that wouldn't mind defacing the floor of a beautiful mansion. But we're talking about Bruce Wayne here. And the only reason I can see that he would do this, he spray paints this diagram all over the floor, and then he gets up and he walks over it as an overhead cam shot takes the shot of the whole scene. And wow, what great trailer material that is. So now we're just shooting fucking scenes for a trailer that make absolutely no sense and have no utility whatsoever.
It's how Bruce organizes his thoughts in this movie. What's your point?
There's no utility in this. It's a complete waste of his time and energy. But that's okay. We're going to put it in there because we need to have a good trailer shot. What are some redeeming qualities of the Batman? Well, there are some things like the cinematography that has been talked about in countless videos on YouTube, so I'm not going to go into that. You can talk about the Penguin makeup, at which, you know, I'll be honest, I was one of those guys who had to go to Google afterwards and find out it was Colin Farrell who was in the Penguin makeup. I have no fucking clue. So in that regard, yay, congratulations. I only asked myself, were there any Italian kind of overweight guys you could have just gave the part to? Did we have to spend the money to put a guy in makeup for 4 hours a day? Did we have to spend that money, producer?
The actor still does a great job within the movie. Just because he has to wear makeup doesn't mean they should have gotten another one. What is this complaint? This complaint is almost as stupid as the people who say this movie's bad because they race swapped Catwoman and Jim Gordon. That's the level of criticism that this is on.
And if I'm one of the people at the studios, DC Comics Studios, which I never will be because they're fucking morons, but if I were, I might ask the question, gosh, guys, wouldn't it be cheaper just to hire another actor? I mean, is Colin Farrell's voice that good?
Cheaper doesn't mean better.
Really? I mean, I'm pretty sure that makeup's costing us a ton of fucking money here. A ton of fucking money. But that's okay. They're fucking morons at DC Comics and they're going to do some stupid ass shit. But look at this. They can make some cool videos on YouTube about how long it took to get into makeup and how awesome the makeup was and how awesome the makeup was for Colin Farrell to get into character and all this other bullshit. None of that.
So Colin Farrell and the crew who worked on this movie had a lot of fun with the Penguin. Can you point out an actual problem besides it would have been cheaper to hire another actor?
That matters. None of that matters. Some of the other redeeming qualities, man, I think I ran out. Of redeeming qualities. How long was that list? 2? 3? I can't remember. It was just such a short list. It's completely left my memory banks. Let's talk about the Batmobile. You got a whole bunch of people that are just fawning over the hot rod Batmobile, which I don't give a fucking rat's ass about. The Batmobile looked like a piece of shit to me. Didn't give a rat's ass about it.
Unless you can give an actual problem with the Batmobile aside from it's bad because it's different, like you tend to do in this video, then yeah, I'm afraid this is a you problem, buddy, not a problem with the movie.
Then he sits there in the the very first debut of the Batmobile, and to me it looks like he stalled it out. I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. He just sat there in it, though, kind of looking dumb. Don't know what that was all about. I saw another YouTube video, I can't remember who it was now because I watched quite a few, where he kind of went in on this whole scene and talked about how Penguin was all of a sudden a NASCAR driver and shit, so I won't touch on that because someone already did. But that was quite interesting, that scene. And it was just fucking more bullshit scenes made for the goddamn trailer. That's all it was. You can tell the scenes that are made for a trailer. I mean, they're just designed that way. And then, back to the very first part of the movie when it first...
I'm not entirely sure what he's trying to get at with the penguin chase scene in this movie, and I don't think he does either.
Movie first starts and they're chasing this guy off the train because they're bullies and we gotta bully the Asian guy. Pandemic, right? And then we're gonna bully the Asian guy and then we're gonna look down the dark alleyway and we're gonna hear these heavy footsteps. Doom, Doom. Doom. Doom as doom approaches. Did Batman do that in the movies or in the comic books? Did he announce his arrival? Gosh, I kind of think no. I kind of think Batman more just was the shadows. It's like,
The movie establishes that criminals are afraid of Batman in this universe because they have no idea where he is. So every time the bat signal is out, they are in constant fear of him because they have no idea where he's going to be or where he's going to show up. The movie establishes that very clearly. This is an example of Batman playing into the fear and theatricality of him being, the shadows in this. That is what this scene is conveying.
he even says that. Like, that's one of his lines in the movie. Like, they think I'm in the shadows, but I am the shadows. You're the shadows with some heavy fucking footfall, let me tell you. And then there's another scene that is similar in nature. It's at the end of the movie, and he's walking down a pitch black, dark hallway. Now, this Batman does not have any known technology that allows him to see in the dark, unlike the Christopher Nolan Batman that did have a Batman X-ray or a Batman sonar type vision capability in his eyewear, in his mask built in, which was really cool. This Batman is too...
He only had access to that due to the machine we see at the end of The Dark Knight that he uses to help catch the Joker. That's the only sign of it. And also earlier on in The Dark Knight with Lucius's phone and outputting a sonar signal or whatever. Those are the only two instances where we know for a fact he uses it. Not to mention, in The Dark Knight Rises, Batman has a scene similar to this also, where we don't see the little, goggle things, for lack of a better term, over his eyes. No, it's just his regular eyes, and it's a similar scene where Bane's thugs are shooting at him in the dark hallway. They can't see him outside of the muzzle flashes, and Batman keeps getting closer each time and taking them out. So, no, Batman did not use the sonar tech for that.
Early on, he hasn't really developed all that tech, and they didn't show anything resembling that kind of tech in the film, and yet here he is walking down a pitch black hallway having full combat with a bunch of thugs and taking them out pretty quickly. Even more troubling is the fact that they unloaded several magazines of fully automatic weaponry right into his fucking chest and didn't fucking phase him. Okay.
Batman is able to tell where they are because of the muzzle flashes. That's how he knows where they are and how he can attack them. Also, no, they don't. The bullets just don't hurt him. The movie establishes that while his armor does protect him, he still does get injured, hence why we see when he takes his shirt off that he has a whole bunch of black and blue marks all over his body and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, while the armor protects him, it's not like he takes no damage. The bullets still weigh him down, or wear him down, not weigh him down. He simply fights through the pain.
Okay. So I don't understand what armor he's wearing or where he got it from, but it was fucking stupid. Then you have the detachable bat symbol at the end they show as a bladed weapon. Not exactly sure where they're going with that. Was that supposed to be an early rendition of a batarang, some sort of glaive device? I don't know what the fuck they were going for there. But basically, he used it as a cleaving device at the end of the movie. One time it got used. It seems pretty pointless to have it there, but whatever. I'm nitpicking.
Like you said, it's almost certainly an early version of the batarang, and it's not pointless to have it. Batman may need to cut something like we see in the movie, so yeah, it makes sense that he has a tool to cut something if he needs to, even if it's his bat symbol.
Now, to be honest, I want to get now into the real reason why I hate the Batman. And I hate the Batman movie because it exists in the DC universe, and the DC universe has done nothing but disappoint me for so many years.
So you don't like the movie because it exists? What? What kind of complaint is that?
Here you have Marvel Universe. They've given you the keys to the vault. They've given you the exact blueprint to follow to be successful in this genre. They've showed you exactly how you do it. You have to plan out a series of films for 10 to 20 years out. You have to plan it out.
Not everything needs to be some big interconnected cinematic universe like the MCU. Some things are allowed to be their own, self-contained universe. They don't need to be connected to all these other big movies and whatnot like the MCU is.
intricately. You have to know exactly what you're doing, going from film to film to film, tying it all together, using those post-credit segments to lead into the next film and get people ready. It is a universe that is unified in Marvel, completely unified, telling one story through hundreds and hundreds of characters. They've given it to you, DC, but you're too fucking stupid to do it. And what do instead? You keep throwing these hodgepodge films together that may last 2 to 3 films at best, and then we're on to the next bullshit you're going to throw our way.
Once again, there's nothing wrong with a movie universe that's more self-contained and not some big interconnected one. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. And not to mention, DC, I understand that DCU may have not got announced till like a year after the Batman released, but DC did have a big cinematic universe before the Batman released. It's called the DCEU, and it was garbage. So, yeah, you're acting as if they didn't try the cinematic universe thing at this point, when they did, and it fell on its butt.
None of it connected to the last, none of it having any sort of connection to anything done previously. And they all look like completely fucking different movies, too. Have you ever noticed that? Look at the original Batman movie, Tim Burton's Batman. Look at Joel Schumacher, who did a pretty decent job of trying to blend in with what Tim Burton had done. But then when you get to Christopher Nolan, what happens? He creates a whole new look, a whole new feel, a more realistic, gritty, real-world approach to the Batman. And then what do we have? We have the Justice League, which even takes a grittier turn. And then we come back around to the Batman, which takes this more grungy look. And here's what they want us to believe, by the way, before I go on. They want us to believe that this is going to expand into something. This ain't going to expand into shit. This is going to be a tops of 3 movies in the Batman series and then a couple spin-off bullshit things on HBO Max. Who gives a fuck? You think they're going to follow this up with anything legitimate? You think there's going to be a Superman movie behind this, a Wonder Woman movie, a Flash movie, an Aquaman movie, a Cyborg movie behind this? It's all going to tie together into a new universe? No fucking way are they going to do it.
The Batman is in its own self-contained universe. It doesn't need to be a cinematic universe like you want it to be so desperately, dude. You're unironically complaining that a movie in a self-contained universe might not expand into something bigger than it was ever supposed to be. That's what you're complaining about. Are you serious right now? This video is laughably bad, dude.
Because they're too fucking stupid to do it. The DC universe has so many characters that are just amazing, with such great depth of characters, great depth of stories. They're just asking to be used in an amazing way. They're just begging you, use us in an amazing way, and we're going to make you a ton of money. But what they won't do is they won't follow that formula. You got DC Comics asleep at the wheel again. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They go from darkness to the comedy of the Shazam series. Oh, hey kids, how you doing? You want some Shazam toys? Back to the darkness of the Batman.
Shazam is part of the DCEU, which is a big cinematic universe like you want. It's much tonally different than the Batman, because not only is Shazam a much different character than him, but they are also not part of the same continuity at all. The Batman is completely separate from the DCEU. It's its own thing. Get that through your head.
They're claustrophobic. No, that's the wrong word. What's that word where you're fucked up in the head and you got fucking multiple personalities? Whatever the fuck that is, that's what they are. They got split personality disorder. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're all over the goddamn place.
Wow, you mean to tell me that 2 characters who are completely different in 2 different universes have 2 totally different movies? Crazy, I know. It's so strange, almost like they're in different characters in different universes. What is this complaint?
If I was a shareholder in Disney, I'd be firing motherfuckers left and motherfucking right. It shouldn't matter who the directors are in the director's chair of these films. You should go from one film to the other. You can watch Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, all of them. You can watch every single movie, and you know what you feel like? You feel like you're in the same goddamn universe, because they did an amazing job of making sure every single film looks like the last. You're always You always feel like you're in the Marvel Universe when you watch a Marvel movie. Not DC. DC, they're fucking all over the goddamn place. Every new director wants to put his own little spin on things and change everything up and da 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 da.
Almost like the MCU is an interconnected cinematic universe, while the Batman is its own self-contained thing that's not connected to anything prior.
Listen, assholes, this is not about you as a director, okay? This is about the fan base and about the DC universe, the cinematic universe.
The Batman isn't part of a cinematic universe. It's not part of the DCU. It's not part of the DCEU that was out when you made this video. So no, it's not going to feel like those movies from the DCEU because it's not connected to them. The Batman universe is its own thing, telling its own story.
And we want a fucking universe that is begging to be brought to life. Are you going to do it? Is anybody out there got the balls to fucking do it?
You bring up how DC should please the fans, yet earlier in this video, towards the beginning of it actually, you were talking about how you just kept finding video after video praising the movie. So clearly fans do like the Batman, and they are pleased with it. So what's your problem?
Because if you do, you will be the greatest in the minds of all the fans if you can bring it all together. So step up out there. Where you at? Where's all these directors and producers out there that got the balls to grab DC Universe and run with it? I thought it might have been Zack Snyder. I was wrong. They're done with Zack Snyder, apparently. Where the fuck is he? He's gone. See you later. Nice try, Zacky boy. You had a good run. You had a good run.
Well, I'm sure you're very pleased with the DCU then right now, since it's a cinematic universe. And what do you know? The Batman is also continuing, so we can have both a cinematic universe and more self-contained universes. Yeah, both sides win.
But DC Comics is always going to fuck some shit up, and they did, again. So, for all the fanboys out there that are out there loving on this movie, I just think you're fucking dead wrong. I think this movie is a bunch of bullshit. And I think it's not going to go anywhere, and I think it's a complete waste of my motherfucking 3 hours, and I want my money back. How about that? I want my money back.
But I thought DC should please fans, and clearly they were with this movie. So I think it's less about DC needs to please the fans and more about you just wanting something specific, and since you didn't get it, you're really mad about it.
That's all I got to say. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me on this. Bring it down in the comments section. I'll be down there. I'll be peeping you. I'll be seeing what you got to say. Defend this hunk of shit. I want to hear about it.
Well, at least you're self-aware that fans like this movie and are against you, even though you said DC should please them. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for this video. Like always, don't go sending any hate to this guy over a movie opinion. It's really not that deep at the end of the day. No one deserves to be harassed or whatever. But yeah, I'll end off the video here, and until next time, peace.